Welcome back, Blood Bowl.
Welcome back, I'm Ryan from Bluewater Gaming, and before we get into this, I have a little disclaimer. I was given a code to review Blood Bowl 2 Legendary Edition, so take that into consideration whenever I talk about anything with this game. So let's get right into it. Now, I know that there's going to be three types of people that watch this. Those that have no idea what Blood Bowl is, those that have but haven't bought Blood Bowl 2, and then the existing Blood Bowl 2 players. And I'm going to address all three of those categories of people in that order. So starting out, what is Blood Bowl? It's based off of a board game that takes the races and creatures from Warhammer Fantasy and puts them into a simplified version of American football. I'm not going to go into all the different rules changes and such, as I don't exactly know all the rules changes. I'm not that big of a fan of football, but just think of it as simplified football. Then for the people who know what Blood Bowl is and haven't bought it before, there's this new version called the Legendary Edition, which includes Blood Bowl 2, the base game, the Blood Bowl 2 Team Pack, which is essentially all 8 existing DLC races put together into one package, and then the expansion, and all of that together for $45. So every DLC piece plus the base game for $45. I'll get into what's all in the expansion here in a minute, and then for the existing players, you can just buy the expansion for $24.99 or your regional equivalent. So what you're seeing in the background is just some early campaign footage. That's just one of the first things I played. Now I'm going to go into a bit more detail about the game for the people who either haven't played Blood Bowl 2 before or haven't played any Blood Bowl or even know about Blood Bowl. For the existing players, if I remember, I will put a time up at the top of this video that you can skip to where I just talk about the new expansion. Besides that, let's get right into explaining what Blood Bowl 2 is. So, essentially, in a game of Blood Bowl, it starts out with an attacking team and a defending team. The attacking team, the defending team kicks the ball to the attacking team. Normal football, someone runs around and catches it before it actually hits the ground. In this one, nobody moves until the ball actually hits the ground. Then someone on the attacking team runs over, picks up the ball, and tries to get to the defending team's end zone to score a touchdown, which in this game is worth 1 point, instead of regular football where I believe it's worth 6 or so. But during that, the ball can get knocked out of the hands of the player carrying it. Any player can carry it in this game because there's not resets like there are in regular football. And there's a lot more contact in Blood Bowl. There's a reason why blood is in the title. There's a lot of contact. It is very common and a very good strategy to just violently knock down people on your on the opposing team. You'll see me do that many times. Essentially, if the ball gets knocked out of the hands of the carrier, then the opposing team has the chance to pick it up, and then that team, if they do happen to pick it up, becomes the attacking team, and then the other people have to keep them out of their end zone. And it's essentially what you were seeing in the background. And there is a lot that goes into this. Essentially, it's a great digital version of a board game. The only problem is, with a board game comes some downsides. The main one being pretty much everything you do is based on a dice roll or percentage. You can actually choose how it's displayed in the game, whether you want it to be an actual percentage or if you want it to be a dice roll. And to keep it in the theme of a board game, you'll see my UI uses the dice rolls. So you'll see if I try to throw a ball, I might have to get a 4+ to throw the ball, which means I have to roll a 4 or higher. Now, you don't actually see these dice rolls happen. They just happen in the background. And the problem is, everything in this game requires a dice roll. You want to move past your opponent? That's a dice roll to make sure that you don't get knocked down. You want to pass the ball? It's a dice roll to successfully throw the ball, and another one to successfully catch the ball. It's a dice roll to knock an opponent down. It's a dice roll to move 2 extra spaces than what you normally could. There is dice rolls all over the place, and that can get super annoying to someone who isn't used to playing a board game like this, where there is a bunch of dice rolls. I know a lot of people who come from regular sports games that come and try Blood Bowl, and they're just completely put off by the fact that simple things are put up to dice rolls and you have a chance of failing. Like, if I'm running past some opponent and they're facing the exact opposite direction, they can just instantly whip around and knock over your player, where that normally doesn't really happen in actual football. So that's really the only downside. Besides that, Blood Bowl 2 is a complete upgrade from the original Blood Bowl. The original one didn't really have a tutorial. This one, the campaign kind of serves as the tutorial. The first 4 or 5 matches of the campaign gradually introduces you to different things. And so this one has a much better tutorial. Then there's just other things, like it looks better, the teams are better, the customization's better. Everything about Blood Bowl 2 is better than the original. And then you have the expansions that they added. So just going over the races that they have. In the base game, they have the humans, orcs, dwarves, Skaven, which for those of you that don't know, Skaven are essentially like rats or huge rats. Then you have dark elves, the chaos, which there's no real way to describe chaos besides chaos. Then the Bretonnians, which are alternate humans. And then high elves. Now, that's what came in the base game. I believe that is similar to what was in the original Blood Bowl, but with a bit extra. Then, from the release of Blood Bowl 2 until now, they added in 8 more races as DLC, which were the Lizardmen, the Wood Elves, the Norse, the Undead, the Necromantic, Nurgle, Chaos Dwarfs, and the Khemri. Which, for those of you that don't know Warhammer Fantasy, you might not know some of those. The ones that I expect people not to know are Nurgle, which is essentially just highly infected undead. Think of the Flood from Halo. And then the Khemri are essentially Egyptian mummies and stuff like that. Then I'll get into the 8 teams or the 8 races that the expansion adds here in a bit when I talk about that. But essentially, Blood Bowl 2, if you haven't picked it up already, this is a great time to pick it up with the Legendary Edition. So let's actually go into what you get with the expansion. So in this new expansion, it is priced at $25, and you get quite a bit in it. Some of which is cool new stuff. Other stuff I think could have been added in a free update because it's actually pretty vital to the game. So yeah, starting off, they're adding in 8 new races. These are the Halflings, Ogres, Goblins, Vampires, Amazonians, the Elven Union, the Underworld Denizens, and the Kislev Circus. Now these are just different races that have different abilities. They're make up 1/3 of the whole roster of races in Blood Bowl. And essentially the only special thing is they're touting the Kislev Circus as it's apparently not been in any other Warhammer Fantasy game, so it's a completely new thing. Then they're adding in a new stadium, the Khemri Stadium. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's at the base of a Khemri pyramid, and it's Egyptian themed and whatnot. Then you have the Solo Eternal League, which is an endless solo campaign divided into seasons. Seasons are a year long, and those seasons are divided into 4 parts for the different actual seasons, like the weather seasons. Then you have a challenge mode, which has 10 challenges in it. You try to beat challenging game situations that you might find yourself in. Then 3 of the coolest things are mixed race teams, where you can take players from multiple different races and put them together, so you can have like Skaven runners and potentially like ogre linemen and stuff. So you can take the best parts of each team and kind of put it together into one mixed race team. Then you have all-star teams, which are teams comprised exclusively of all-star players. Now, I haven't played through the entirety of the campaign, but up to the part that I'm at, all-star players are kind of rare, so it's kind of cool to have a team completely of all-star players. Then they have Resurrection mode, which they brought over apparently from the board game. I've never played the board game, so this is just what I've heard. That allows you to bring back players from death and permanent injury in between multiplayer matches, and that seems like a huge thing. So that's kind of on the edge of something that they should have had in a free update. But the rest of this stuff, I think, should have been just a free update. And that's things such as human and AI leagues. So currently in the game, if you haven't played it, there are leagues that people can set up to play through several different matches in like a multiplayer league setup to see who's kind of the best. Currently, that has to be completely done with humans. They're adding in the ability in this expansion to throw some AIs in there so that if you don't have like a full league, you can add some extra AI teams. That seems like a pretty basic thing that should have been added in a free update. Then there's also Swiss system competitions. They currently, the way that the leagues are set up is not in a Swiss style ladder. They're adding in the ability to change it to a Swiss system. Then they're also adding in chat tabs in leagues, so you can actually talk to the people playing other teams. That seems like a pretty basic thing that they should add, or should have added in a free update. Then there's post-match chat, where you can talk exclusively with the person that you just played against, which once again seems like a pretty simple thing that they should have added in a free update. Then they're adding in a pause system for multiplayer matches. Once again, pretty simple thing that should have been added. Then manual seeding in competitions. If you don't know what that is, it's essentially being able to do the ranking system yourself manually. Once again, kind of a simple thing that should have been added. Then AI improvements, which I have no idea why this is not a free update. And then a free cam mode, which probably should have been there before now. But that's everything that you get for this expansion. Even if you take out all the stuff that I think should have just been a free update, you still have the 8 new races, the new stadium, the Eternal League, the Challenge mode, the mixed race teams, the All-Star teams, and the Resurrection mode. And for $25 for someone who's already playing Blood Bowl 2, this is amazing. And I definitely really like it, as I'm more of a solo person in this, and that solo Eternal League is really, really drawing me in. Plus, with the mixed race teams and the All-Star teams added into the Eternal League, that's just the great part of that, and that's really what I'm going to be going after. Now, for the new players, you can just spend $45 and get everything, which is also a great deal for someone who hasn't gotten into Blood Bowl yet. Now, you might be saying, oh, you're just saying all this great stuff about it because you were given a code for it. But the only thing that I was given codes for was to get into the beta without actually having to purchase the expansion, and I was given all the DLC races that are already out that I hadn't bought yet. I still have bought Blood Bowl 2, and I'm buying the expansion myself. So I am purchasing these things myself, and I think that this is a really great deal. overall this is just way better than the original Blood Bowl, which I didn't put that much time into, but I did play the original Blood Bowl a little bit, and I'm really liking Blood Bowl 2 as of now. And so this is perfect for pretty much anybody that likes what they see. For the existing Blood Bowl 2 players, you're getting a whole bunch of stuff for not that terrible of a price. Extremely, with the 8 new races that by themselves would cost about the same price. The All-Star team and the Mixed Race team and the Resurrection mode is all great. As I've already said, I'm going to put some significant time into that Solo Eternal League. Then for the new players, getting everything for $45 is pretty great. Now, currently it is only for the PC, although I have heard that they are wanting to roll out versions for the Xbox One and for the PS4 at a later date. I have no idea when that later date's going to be, just at a later date. So that's going to be it for this. If you like this, the like button is down below. If you didn't, then click that dislike button. As always, I'm Ryan from Blue Water Gaming, and I will see you guys in the next one.